creating a world and escaping into it and living in it, I can get lost for hours there and
Mhm.
feel completely at home.
Um, this is a big question. Your idea of happiness.
My idea of happiness. Well, I know that like I've always had three goals for my life, or not always, but since a few years ago, I've had three vague and main goals in my life. That if I achieve them, I will be happy. So I guess
Mm.
the first goal is to have a family
Mhm.
of my own, like a new generation, I guess. 'Cause I already have a mom and
Thanks,
dad.
Degrassi.
I already have a mom and dad and sister, but wife and children. Um, I also want to live in a way that um, makes people smile, even if they hate me. They sort of can't. Like I will have done something good for them, I guess. Um, and the third goal, I guess, was to in a similar vein, uh, was to help out as many people as I can with whatever I end up being able to do.
Mhm.
Um,
So, what do you think? It's a very like goal-oriented idea of happiness.
mm.
So, like, what do you think of that? Is that Do you think that's like the most reasonable way to like
I
become happy, or
I think
is it like a weird? Is it too rigid? Like,
I don't know if it's too well. It is rigid. I realize that, but I think right now I'm happiest when I feel I'm serving other people.
mhm,
I'm not often self-indulgent, and I don't really derive a lot of happiness from it. I derive a lot of peace when I self-indulge,
mhm,
but I don't think those are the same thing.
mhm. Okay, I think that a lot of people like if they were describing happiness, that like being at peace would be something that they would
I think it's like a
link to that.
companion thing to lasting happiness,
Okay.
and I do want to be at peace as well,
Mhm.
but I see them as separate things.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, certainly that they seems for a lot of people that they might overlap
Mm.
somewhat. Okay. Uh so your idea of misery.
I've heard this answered a few times, and um, I think I agree with what's said in a way where if I have things planned for my life, and I don't think those other specific goals or those other things I want to do will pop out here, but I have a lot of big dreams, and I think I would be most miserable if even if or when or if and when I'm not being very articulate here.
Okay, this is off the cuff.
um, if I accomplished all of those things, but had nobody there to share the moment with,
Mhm.
um, I think for me being utterly not alone but lonely, I guess
Mhm.
I also see those as different things. Um, being feeling like there's nobody there for me is the depth of misery for me.
Mhm. Okay. Um so if not yourself, who would you be?
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah. Some of these are pretty deep.
I think if this was like a reversible thing, I would like to at least for a day or a week or so be either my mother or my father and
Mhm.
see just what goes through their heads when they were taking care of my sister and I when we were younger and raising us and just like cuz
Yeah, I think like parenthood is one thing that is so unfathomable until you've really
Yeah.
experienced it. I think that would be interesting
And
too.
I just like I know they've done a lot for me, and I really want to understand just how much they've done now. So I think if I wasn't myself, I would like to be them.
Mm, okay. Um, where would you like to live?
Everywhere.
That's fair. You know, that's
A
that
blimp that just
sum
travels around the world.
that sums it up.
um, I think I want to, when I'm old and not able to do that much, I want to settle down somewhere warm,
Okay.
and somewhere with a forest and somewhere with salt water as well.
Mhm.
And beyond that, I'm not too picky.
Yeah, there's a the equator is pretty large. Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be like warm all year round, but no like bitterly cold winters. Like BC is a nice place.
Mhm.
I was there in March in grade 10, and it snowed a little bit, but it was melted by noon, and that's apparently how it is year round.
Mhm. I don't think I could live somewhere where there is no snow. Like eventually.
Well, there's mountains there too, though.
Yeah, I guess it's a short jaunt. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's
Somewhere I
within
guess
striking
geographically
distance.
varied, um,
Yeah, for sure.
and where there's not a whole lot of political upheaval very frequently.
It's a bonus. Um, so next question is your favorite color and flower.
My favorite color is green, um, like I guess the green of pines. Because there's a lot of different shades, right?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting an expansion on this particular question, but
And
let's run with it.
my favorite flower is the water lily.
Okay, and any reason why, or just aesthetic?
I think aesthetic and just looking at them for some weird reason makes me feel more at peace, I guess.
Hmm.
It's connected to when I go out paddling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah,
Your favorite prose authors.
prose authors. Man, I feel. See, this is where I start to feel guilty about never having read that many classics. So I give like.
Oh no, it's not.
I give
Prose is a pretty large genre.
answers that people judge me for. But I really like.
I don't think they're gonna get this far into it and like just like have
He's
an angry opinion on this question in
Fuck
particular.
that guy. He likes Stephen King for his Dark Tower series, which is the true answer.
I like that he worked that in.
Um, I think I really like. I'm a fan of the fantasy genre,
Mhm.
and I really am always impressed when I read any of Tad Williams' trilogies, or well, things that are intended to be trilogies, and the last book gets split up so many times. Um, he, I really admire how he creates his villains. They're not. A lot of them are so elementally evil that you can't comprehend why they do the things they do, and I think that makes it a lot scarier. And
Mhm.
I think his villains are the only ones, or the only ones that really truly terrify me, because in his books you don't know if the good guy's going to win or not. Like
Yeah.
obviously people try to write for a happy ending, and you have that in the back of your mind. The things that he writes about are so overwhelming, and his
Yeah.
main characters seem so weak.
Do you find which do you think is more scary though? Like that weird, like overwhelming evil that isn't present in a lot of books,
Mm.
or the like realistic.
I think in real life I would be scared of. I'd be more likely to encounter realistic evil, and
Yeah.
certainly when I meet people that are bad just for the hell of it, I'm really terrified and revulsed of them.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll probably never encounter elemental evil in real life.
Chaotic bad.
Um, so I think the few mysteries I have read that have like really complex villains, I really do um, feel afraid of them. But I read so much more. Like 99% of my literature consumption is fantasy, so I only really
Mhm.
encounter that, and fantasy writers aren't really good at creating realistic evil. I
Mhm.
don't